Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where people ask questions, get advice, and we get satisfaction. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, Ohio, my rental agency allowed their employee to turn my property into a trap house, proceed to use their keys to my property to steal all of my stuff. So this is a long winding story, so I'm going to lay out the absolute facts with no emotion on my part outside of the occasional swear word. I will gladly add any detail should anyone want to know more. Number 1. I rent one half of a townhouse, the other half of the unit is/was rented by a maintenance man who works for the company I rent from. The maintenance man had keys to my house to do maintenance, obviously. The maintenance man became heavily involved in drugs and crime. He began allowing other people to live in this house who also do heavy drugs and were committing crimes while on the property. This had gone on for a period of 6+ months. At one point people were living in a broken down RV in my front lawn. I had my car blocked in for an entire afternoon by a police raid. I can prove this through court documents. In other words, they used the property as their address in court documents and pictures. Eventually, the maintenance man was evicted in early May. He was eventually fired in June. I have court documents to prove this. The property was never cleaned up or secured. The front door is glass that was broken out. For 3 months it was full of trash and rotting food. The backyard was filled with trash. I have pictures up until today that proves all of this. Number 5. On July 7th, someone entered my house illegally while I was gone, stole lots of my belongings and trashed the apartment. It was not the maintenance man, he was in jail. I have a police report to prove this. I say entered and not broke into because there was no forced entry. All my windows were locked, there are no other doors. I have a police report to prove this. You will have to take my word for it that I lock my door living above a trap house in Stillstead, but I obviously cannot prove that. And by the way guys, I just noticed that trap house means something like a drug den/drug house where people sell drugs. Next, I found numerous sets of apartment keys on my bedroom floor of the exact brand that my realtor gives out on the same rings my realtor gives out. My one set of spare keys is accounted for. I have pictures to prove this. When the police came, they found almost all of my belongings in the downstairs apartment. The apartment doors were unlocked. There was no one in the apartment at the time, but someone had been there recently enough to have ordered a pizza the night before, along with eating my ice cream and drinking my beer and leaving it there. I have a police report to prove this. Next, the police called the realtor to secure the property. A new maintenance man changed the locks but left the giant hole in the glass door. He told me he could not secure the property because they would just break the glass again. He said that he was replacing my former neighbor as maintenance because he was in jail and had gotten into drugs pretty bad. The following Monday, I called the realtor office to express my displeasure with the situation. In other words, I had a bunch of drug addicts squatting below my house who had keys to my house and could have came into my apartment at any time. I was told they take this seriously and will call me back. She is apologetic that they cannot secure the apartment more than they have. I have to call them back the following Thursday with no response. As of Tuesday, no one has gotten back to me. Tuesday I go to the property and take pictures of everything, including the still broken door. I drop off a dated, signed letter to my realtor's office stating the above in detail, citing dates, times and court reports. I state how different employees informed me they couldn't secure the property. I tell them I no longer feel secure in the house. Realistically, I didn't before anyway. I often work nights or travel, meaning I would have to trust leaving my dogs by themselves. They stole my spare car key, so I cannot even trust parking there. My lease expires end of August. I say that I will be out by the end of July. I absolutely will not pay August's rent and I expect my deposit back. ORC 5321.07 is what I was basing this off, but obviously I'm not a lawyer. Next, they sent me a damn email, an email saying the locks were changed in May, which wouldn't and didn't matter because of the giant hole in the glass door. They sent someone to re-secure the property. Again, it still has a giant hole in the door and that the unit remains secure. Again, there is a giant damn hole in the door. They are sending out someone to clean up the property 3 months after eviction, and more than 10 days after my initial complaint, they still expect my August rent. I was trying to approach this entire thing respectfully and work with the company, but based on their email, they are not even attempting to approach this in good faith. No one that has responded to me has even seen the property, and they are sending easily disprovable written lies. I don't even want to respond to it at this point. The questions are: do I have legal standing here for early termination of my lease? I feel like I have done my due documented diligence in working with the realtor to get this resolved. I've got paper trails and pictures to prove most, if not everything, that has happened. Is the company liable for any negligence? In my mind, allowing an employee to live there, he received half of his rent, would imply some liability, plus the fact that they never accounted for keys or came by to even change my locks. Would I be able to sue for punitive damages? Should I withhold August's rent or put it in escrow with the local municipal court, citing it is being held pending litigation? Should I file a complaint with the state AG? Should I contact the elementary school administrators across the street, letting them know there is a large group of drug addicts squatting in an adjacent property and the realtor does not feel obligated to do anything about it? As a side note, this was not in some rundown neighborhood. I live in one of the highest per capita areas in the state, paying $1,000 for a 1-bedroom. And while I can afford to pay 1 more month of rent, the entire situation has me annoyed enough to fight it with whatever modest means I have available. I will gladly answer any questions to help flesh out details. And a user in the comments said, not a lawyer, you might get a hold of code enforcement as this has got to be out of code. Also, look into any renter's aid that might be available in your local government. I know they had someone where I lived in SoCal, but I cannot remember the name of the office off the top of my head. And another person in the comments said, I'm not sure about Ohio laws, but some states allow early termination due to threats to safety. This does not mean they will comply and return your deposit. I have included a link below to tenant rights in Ohio. I suggest you move out as planned and don't pay August rent. When you move out, leave the place spotless and take as many photos as you can to prove the condition of the property. I mean everything, the stove, the fridge, the toilet, everything. Every inch of every room. Now, by law, in the state of Ohio, they have to give you an itemized document of damages within 30 days. You would be surprised how many don't do this. They must provide you with a written accounting of what was deducted from the deposit and why. Should he fail to do so or to return the deposit, either the balance remaining or in full, a tenant can sue in small claims court for up to $3,000. Good luck and keep letting us know what happens. Sounds like a horrible situation. And guys, unfortunately I have to tell you, there's no update to this story, so we will never know what happened. Of course, I'm just kidding, guys. There is a satisfying update which we will read now. Update to the crazy rental agency story. I actually got a ton of good advice from that thread. First thing I did was reach out to a lawyer, but no one seemed particularly interested in taking my case, and the one lawyer who ended up having a conflict of interest as the company is a large developer that a partner represented. I was told that it would be hard to find anyone to take it because the company was a notorious pain in the butt. Since that was a dead end, I went ahead and gathered all the evidence I had and organized it with dates into a timeline. All said and done, I had about a 3-page report that was an easy to follow chain of events. I actually read other civil court cases dockets against the company with similar complaints to see how to structure it and what a judge might be looking for. I took all of that and sent it into the state AG's office. After the AG reviewed it, they suggested to forward the complaint to the Better Business Bureau as the company is a BBB accredited business. The company has an A+ rating, which immediately made me skeptical that I was going to get any fairness of justice out of the process. However, I wanted to make sure if this went to court I had exhausted all the options I had. 2 weeks later, the company reached out to me to let me know that they would not be charging me for the last month's rent and would be given my full deposit back. Of course, a greedy part of me thinks I should have asked for more out of spite, but in the end I saved about 2 grand. In a just world, I think I ultimately deserved more monetarily, but I feel vindicated and it is hard to put a price on that. Hopefully this helps someone else out in the future. Honestly, the Ohio AG office has been awesome anytime I have reached out to them, so I would suggest that as the first go-to when it comes to gathering your options anytime you find yourself in conflict with a company. Thanks LegalAdvice, hopefully I will never need you again. And Ripe Stars, if you enjoy LegalAdvice, I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This helps me tremendously and I would love to reach 29,000 subscribers this month. And the next one is titled Ghosted by Fiance, he left our 2 children home alone while I was at work. My fiancé moved out while I was at work. He had taken the day off from work and was supposed to take the kids to the daycare, our kids. I called him around 10 AM, he didn't answer. I called the daycare and they said that the kids had never arrived. I called him again, left work after not being able to get a hold of him. Turns out he had basically ghosted me. He took what he could carry and left our 2 children home alone for about 4 hours. The kids are fine, they were a bit scared of course, obviously. The youngest is 18 months, no note, nothing, deleted social media, and his family has no idea where he is. His work has not seen or heard from him. He obviously left of his own free will as our eldest 4 said daddy, said goodbye and packed some things. He emptied our shared bank accounts, which obviously contained some of my money and all of my savings. Yay. He also skedaddled on our year lease and took the car that is in my name only. Left his car, which I was driving because we had switched cars for maintenance. I also noticed today that he took the engagement ring he bought me, which I took off for work. I thought maybe he was just having a short-term bit of crazy, so I called off the day and just stayed home with the kids. Tried to get their mind off of it, his phone goes straight to voicemail. I've never been ghosted before, so I don't know how to deal with this. Do I call the police? What about leaving the kids? The taking of the car and engagement ring, which was bought jointly? Or do I call a lawyer first to secure the kids? I've talked to his family, the natural of which he left and the things he took does not really lean towards the reporting of a missing person, but I've never had to report someone before, so I don't know. So he's either having some sort of mental or emotional crisis and needs help, or he decided he wanted out and just got out in a hurry. I am really angry about him just leaving the kids at home thing. The least he could have done was text me, leaving, come home and get the kids. Legally, what do I do here? I'm not so much worried about the stuff or the lease, but leaving the kids alone cannot be legal. Is there a legal way to tell him, leaving your young children alone is not acceptable, you craphead? Edit, called a lawyer I know. He is going to meet me this afternoon, so I'm going to do whatever he advises in regards to calling the police. I figured it was probably a call a lawyer matter instead of call the police, but I just needed some clarification. Thanks so much to everyone for the advice. And a user in the comments said, yes, you should be able to file an emergency petition to have custody of the kids and get child support squared away. I'm very sorry to hear, OP. Most times when people get ghosted on, it's like after one Tinder date, not something like this. What the hell is going on? And guys, I'm wondering, has anyone ever ghosted you? If so, feel free to share in the comments. Update to the ghosting fiancé story. Just a quick update and a note to thank everyone for their advice. I ended up calling his brother, who arranged for the return of my car for the exchange of his. I contacted a lawyer who arranged for a temporary custody order. We had a preliminary court date which he missed, but he did manage to respond to a request we had. He had ran off with a woman he had been talking to. I was blindsided and knew nothing about it. They are married now, which I'm fine with. He sees the kids once a week and does not seem to want to see them more, but he pays child support on time. Me and the kids are still living in the same place. I am doing well on my own. I took up a hobby on my own day away from the kids and a week off to just spend some time when they are in school working on me. I make sure the kids see him whenever he wants. I give him updates on them every few days. I work out a lot now. I mean, I don't need to lose weight, but running and lifting has saved my sanity. Staying busy is so important. I took over the lease on the apartment. My lawyer was great and completely understanding. People who ghost people are a-holes though, although I think I am better for it now. On my way back to normal, thank you. And you know guys, what the OP said about staying busy is important. I would definitely subscribe to that. However, lately I've been so busy that I have a really hard time whenever I have a day off. It feels like nowadays I always have to be busy, otherwise I don't really know what to do. Like honestly, nowadays it is kind of difficult for me to just calm down and do nothing. And the next one is titled, I gave a child I was caring for tap water, child's mother is threatening to sue/press charges. Bit of background info, on Monday a friend of mine asked if I was interested in watching her other friend's children. I had previously met the friend a few times at our mutual friend's house. I was a bit unsure as her kids did not really know me too well, but she was desperate and was willing to pay a decent amount for a day of babysitting. So the three of us met up at a mutual friend's place and had a chat about what day and for how long the kids will be there for, etc. Her kids, ages 2ish and 4, seemed happy to spend the day with me and my 3-year-old daughter. All seems well. On Friday morning, she drops off her kids and says she has packed them snacks and lunch and asks if I could not give them anything other than the food she has made as her kids have food sensitivities. I was fine with that. She even packed a lunch pack for my daughter with the same food so they could eat together. I said that was really sweet. My daughter can and will eat anything, no allergies or other food issues. The day goes fine, we go out to the park, library and then come back to my place to just chill until their mom comes to pick them up. During the afternoon, the 4-year-old says her water bottle is empty and could she please have some more. No worries. I keep a couple of jugs of water in the fridge, so I top her water bottle and also her brother's and my daughter's too. They drink, we watch Finding Nemo, the day goes well. Mom comes and picks them up, pays me and we have a chat about the day and then they go home. They leave about 4 PM. Just after 5 PM I get a call from her. I figure one of the kids has left something behind. Oh boy, I was wrong. Kids mom, did you give my kids tap water? Me, what? Yeah, your daughter asked for more water, so I topped it up and gave the other 2 more water too. Kid's mom, was it filtered? Me, well no, but the water here is pretty good. Some areas have water that tastes a bit strange, but it is definitely safe to drink. I cannot remember the exact details of what she says next as she's really raving and ranting at me. She apparently asked her kids why they didn't drink much water as their bottles were half full/empty and the kids told them I had given them some more. She is now accusing me of poisoning her children and she is demanding the money back she paid me for watching the kids. I tell her the water is perfectly safe to drink, but she's not having a bar of it. She says, "Are you going to give me my money back or not?" I'm in shock and just say, "Are you serious?" She yells, "Well, you'll be hearing from my lawyer." I laughed at her because holy crap, someone outside of a TV show just said that and it was kind of funny. She then hangs up. I'm not too concerned and tell my husband and he says she's a bloody fruitcake and not to worry. About an hour later, a mutual friend calls us all like, "What the F? That woman is going to sue you." Apparently she has posted all over Facebook, I'm not friends with her on Facebook but mutual friend is, she has put up this long rant about how I have exposed her kids to toxic chemicals and to heavy metal, what? And just going off. She has also named and shamed me and has put my full name in the post. According to a mutual friend, a lot of her friends are supporting her and saying it is on par to poisoning them. Does she seriously have a case? We live in a first world country for crying out loud. I'm hoping it will be laughed out of court if it gets to that stage. Also, can I somehow get her to remove my name from her post? And can she at the very least give me the money back? It's not a lot, but I did watch her kids and she never said anything about what type of water they could drink, just the issues with food. Thank you all in advance for the help. Apologies for any spelling mistakes, I'm on my mobile. Update, she just deleted the post. She has now put up a post saying, "All those who are close to me know how important my children's health and my own mean to me. I admit I should not have mentioned any names." My favorite comment mutual friend told me was posted on her original post. Friend of crazy, "Geez, it's only tap water. She watched your kids, don't go hassling her for the money back. You're best to just move on." Crazy, "Well, if you paid for a gourmet burger and was giving a Big Mac, you would want your money back." She started off with some supporters, but the majority were just telling her to pull her head out of her ass. I think I may be in the clear. Thanks for the advice, hopefully that's the end of it. And a user in the comments said, ignore the crazy, if you actually receive any court documents you will need to respond, but there is not going to be a lawyer anywhere in Australia who is going to risk their practicing certificate over something so insane. Do not under any circumstances actually engage with her, ignore all attempts no matter how tempting it is to tell her to go F herself. You can report her to Facebook or have one or more of your mutual friends do it and hopefully they will take it down for you. And guys, according to the OP, that is the end of the story. The crazy person stopped making threats and did not take it to court. And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.